This week, we're doing something slightly different because my bestie Laurie has started a new series for her YouTube channel called Cozy Ghost Stories. I love that she's called it cozy, but since I'm in fact scared of the dark and ghosts and sudden noises and things that jump out at me, and sometimes even my own hair and eyelashes, I suspect it's going to be, in fact, creepy, scary ghost stories that makes Rosie feel a bit wibbly and then need to watch something fluffy before she can go to bed safely. That said, we're going to watch the first of Laurie's new series to see if we can cope. She has tried to tell me that yes, it is a bit creepy, but it's not scary. I'm not sure if I believe her, but I would really appreciate it if you would stay around to hold my hand, because I'm already quite scared sitting here in the dark. The good news is I have a lantern, which, funnily enough, Laurie actually got me for Christmas. It did have biscuits in it. It also has a little light. Good times. I thought that was probably a bit safer than an open flame. I wanted to do this by candlelight, but I can't guarantee I'm not going to knock shit everywhere, so I've also brought my friend, Banana Kitty. It is a known fact that cats can see ghosts, but cats are also badass, so I'm hoping that Banana Kitty is going to protect me from shitting my pants. Best wishes. So without further ado, let's see what Laurie's got in store for us, shall we? Here we go then.
Hello, and welcome to my new series, Cozy Ghost Stories.
Hello, Laurie.
Telling chilling tales by a fire has been around for millennia, and this series aims to embrace this tradition, if somewhat a little differently. So make yourself a drink, turn down the lights, and settle in for some cozy ghost stories.
I don't have a drink.
And try to ignore that growing feeling that someone is watching you from that dark corner of your room.
Oh, fuck off, Laurie. No! Why would you do that? Why? I wish I had a cup of tea. Oh, I tell you what, that figure behind the curtains.
This story is titled The Little Hands.
What?
I've never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her street had strange things going on too. A few homes away from her lived a family. One night, the daughter went to bed with a bad headache. The next day, she was dead.
What?
Passed away from an aneurysm. After her funeral, the family went away
Fuck.
to the remains of the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, my mum's brother, to check on their pets. My mum and dad, who were dating at the time, went with him. My mother had heard there was a grand piano and she wanted to play it. My dad was studying to be a veterinarian. After entering the house, my uncle and my father headed to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went to the piano on the ground floor. She was playing with it when she felt something brush her ankles. She thought a cat must have left the basement and walked past her. She kept playing, and then she felt it again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing, and when she started again, she felt hands clasp her legs tightly. She dashed to the basement door, called my uncle and my father, and waited for them. Back outside, my uncle could tell my mum was rattled and asked what was wrong.
Understatement.
She told him what had happened, and he turned white. He told her the daughter who had died used to play a game with her father. When he played the piano, she'd crawl underneath, grab his ankles, and push his feet up and down on the pedals.
Meh. Ah, fuck!
The Phantom Patient. The ambulance company that I used to work for had a haunted ambulance, Rick 12. A lot of EMTs have stories about it, But I never put much stock in paranormal stuff. That is, until I had my own experience with Route 12. My partner and I were working in a rural community at 3 a.m, and it was pitch dark and completely quiet. We were both dozing. I was in the driver's seat, and she was in the passenger seat. I woke up to a muffled voice, but I thought my partner was talking. I told her I was trying to sleep and close my eyes. I distinctly heard a male voice say, "Oh my God, am I dying?"
What?
Followed by a few seconds of heavy breathing. My partner and I sat up straight and looked back into the patient compartment, where it sounded like the voice had come from. Things were quiet for a couple of seconds, then we heard the click of an oxygen bottle regulator and a hiss, as if it was leaking. I turned on the lights and we ran out of the rig. I thought a transient might have climbed in while we were asleep, so we opened the rear doors. No one was there. I checked the oxygen bottles. Neither was opened.
Fuck!
I didn't sleep much after that.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, Laurie.
The impish ghost. My neighbour Diane and I had a playful poltergeist for years. We called it Billy.
Oh, I don't like poltergeist. That's
I'd
the
come
worst.
home and find something put in a weird place. Milk in a cupboard, toilet paper in the fridge, laundry detergent in the bathtub.
I mean, that happens
Diane
to all
once
of
called
us.
to ask if Billy had been around, because she couldn't find a gallon of milk. I finally found it outside on her back steps. And sugar. Darn sugar. Every morning my sugar bowl was empty. When I'd had enough, I would point to Diane's home and yell, "Go see Diane!" Within 5 minutes, I'd get a call from her. "Thanks a lot," she'd say. He'd gone and pulled shenanigans at her place. This occurred for the entire 2 years we lived there. No one believed us, not even our husbands.
Well,
My
'cause
mother
also
thought someone was
poltergeists don't
stealing
do as
from
they're
us when
told.
we were sleeping or out of the house. My sister believed something was going on, but didn't know what. I still can't explain any of it. The eerie attic. A few years ago, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia. It was the first time living on my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange. A wooden board, which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space, lay fractured in 2 pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone up to work in the attic. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. I emailed pictures to the landlord, asking if anyone had been there, with an undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. Her reply read, "Please call me as soon as you are able to." I called, and she explained that her last 2 tenants had the same thing happen. She promised to replace the board, and she did. A month later, I woke up one night around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It felt like someone was rubbing his or hands on me. Everything was silent. But then I heard a dragging sound coming from above my
Oh,
bed.
no, 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 no.
It was as if someone was pulling a sack of potatoes.
No.
I
No!
froze, convinced someone was up there. There is no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, armed myself with a cricket bat, and walked to the bathroom.
Good choice, cricket bat.
That's when I saw that the board covering the hole was broken in 2. I felt sick.
Oh,
The
I
dragging
feel
sound had
sick.
stopped, but I heard something else,
Oh, man.
whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and
No.
I could hear one sentence
Children are the
repeated
scariest
over
ghosts.
and over. "It's your turn. It's your turn." I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal.
Sure.
It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind.
Uh-huh.
Then a fuse blew. My pet budgie Dexter, whom I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night, but he started squawking like he was being strangled.
Oh, no.
I'd never heard him make those sort of noises. He was screaming.
Oh.
I grabbed my car keys, ran out,
Yeah.
sat in my car and
Yeah, yeah.
waited there until the sun came up.
Oh, I wouldn't have sat in the car, I would have left. Left.
When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me enough to know to go back in. The front door was open, but I figured I might have forgotten to close it as I ran out.
No.
I went to the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his cage.
No.
I felt sick again.
No.
All my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m, I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. "Oh wow, you heard the whispering too," she said. I stayed in that apartment for another 18 months.
What?
I heard the whispering on a few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved.
Why would you stay there?
Although I live elsewhere now, the landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on there.
Why?
I get it. It's their problem now.
What? That's... everything about that is just wrong. Everything.
The boy with no eyes.
Oh God. I don't want to do it anymore.
One night
I'm actually
when
sweating.
I was 10, I was woken up by my bedroom door opening.
I don't want to hold my
followed by
hand.
someone sitting on my bed. I felt my leg grazed and the bed sink under a person's weight. It's just Mum, I thought, and I opened my eyes. It was not my mum. I found an eyeless boy. He had black empty sockets,
Ugh.
about my age, sitting at the foot of my bed. He extended his hand, and in it was a little box. I was startled, but reached out. He pulled back. I reached again and said, "Give it." Then I blinked, and when I reopened my eyes, he was gone. But I could still see the imprint where he'd sat on my bed.
Ew.
Fast forward 5 years. My
5
girlfriend
years?
came over to do homework. After she finished, she took a nap while she waited for my parents. When they arrived, I tried waking her up. She opened her eyes suddenly, looking up at the corner where the wall met the ceiling. She pointed there and went back to sleep. I shook her again. She came to full consciousness, and I explained what she'd done. She looked haunted. Up on the wall, I saw a little boy with no eyes.
Ugh.
He was there, in a Spider-Man pose, staring at me.
Ew.
I freaked out and told her my story about the same kid. Fast forward another 5 years. I was with the same girlfriend, and we had a 2-year-old. We were living in my parents' house, in my old room. My daughter started waking up at the same time every night.
Seriously?
She'd talk. After a while, I noticed she had
I love you,
almost the
Laurie,
same
but I really want this
conversation
to be
every night.
over.
I playfully asked her once who she was talking to. She said, "It's a little boy. He's nice. He's lost and looking for his mummy." My daughter's nightly conversations continued until we got our own place later that year.
Please tell me that's it. Please. Please,
The
please.
ghost who came to play. Marlene settled onto her side of the bed and patted Jack's pillow beside her. A year had gone by, but Marlene was still adjusting to widowhood. Maybe it was crazy to think that after 40 years of marriage she would ever adjust. Elmer, the golden retriever, seemed to understand this from the very first.
My nerves are
That
so
cold,
frayed.
moonless night when Marlene
I'm actually in
returned,
pain.
alone, from the hospital, Elmer did something he'd never done before. He jumped onto Jack's side of the bed and lay his head on the pillow. Jack would never have allowed it, but Marlene didn't shoo him off. Instead, she lay down beside Elmer and let the peaceful sound of his snoring lull her to sleep. The next night was the same, and the night after that. Over the past year, it had grown into a comforting routine, but not tonight. Tonight was the first time Elmer had left Marlene alone in the bed since Jack's passing. But hearing nails clicking on the wood floor downstairs, Marlene recognised the sound of Elmer requesting ounces. With a sigh, Marlene made her way down the stairs to the foyer, but Elmer wasn't pacing in front of the big oak door. Rather, he was dancing, and wagging, and wiggling and bowing, just like he used to do when Jack would come home from work. I
Stop
took
it.
these stories from an article I found online. I will post a link in the description below, as there's many more stories that you can read at your leisure.
Many more stories I can shit myself to
Thank
at my
you for
leisure.
listening to Cozy Ghost Stories.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoyed our tales.
No.
If you have any
No,
scary stories of your
I'm
own you
scarred.
would like to share, please do email me at laurieandgaminguk@gmail.com. So be sure to not miss out.
Fuck.
You can find all the information if you click on any of the links below. Thanks again, and I shall see you in the next video. Oh, and sweet dreams.
You are no longer my friend. I don't love you anymore. I don't like it. Christ! I've now turned all the lights on because I'm terrified. And as much as Banana Kitty was there with me, I think I may have actually crushed his bottom banana half to death. As if the stories weren't creepy enough, Laurie. It was. She very specifically said to me, like, it's scary, there are no jump scares. Oh, it's only 3,000 jump scares between every single bloody story, and then you put a girt cat with, like, evil, I'm coming to get you, death goes cat eyes. And then there was the creepy thing under the creepy thing with the creepy thing. Have you ever been, like, really hyped up and wound up and scared and nervous before, like, an interview or something, like, where you just got so, adrenalined that you felt it in all your limbs and you started sweating? Like, that's what happened to me during that 13 minutes of self-shatting horror that I just experienced. It was not the good adrenaline, it was the bad adrenaline, and now I need to lie down, but I'm here by myself. Well, I've got, you know, Banana Kitty, but... So, I guess, Laurie, we could call your ghost stories a success. But I'm now officially scared. So... Can you make something floofy next, please? Because that's what I need now. Thanks. Thanks. Cheers. Bye. In case you like scary stories and you enjoy having the shat scared out of you, I will leave links to Laurie's ghost stories below, and you can go and check her out and enjoy that for yourself, because I will be in the freezer. Okay, thanks. Thanks very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed watching me be terrified. It won't be the last time. See you again for the next one. Bye!